Okay, here is part 2, everyone. Let's begin with this reaction.
Wasn't perfect. Many people did enjoy it, but a lot of other people provided some feedback for how it could improve. The next thing I'll talk about is how the stealth mission improved thanks to feedback from the players. The first thing is something I honestly should have seen coming a mile away. The objective of a stealth game is to get from point A to point B without getting caught. The fun of a stealth game comes from having multiple options for how to reach your destination, creating a plan in your mind, and executing that plan while dealing with any obstacles that pop up along the way. The original version of the Stalker House stealth mission did not satisfy that criteria. There was only one path to the Stalker's room, which means that the player was forced into a linear experience and was not rewarded for exploration. To solve this problem, I added a second way to enter the building. It is now possible to shut off the circuit breaker, forcing the family's father to exit the house, which provides the player with an opportunity to slip in through the front door. It's a minor addition, but in terms of game design, it means that the experience is no longer linear, and that the player is rewarded for looking around and trying new things. Another fun aspect of stealth games is the ability to use various tools to distract or incapacitate your enemies. That sort of thing is missing from the Stalker House stealth mission. But that was a deliberate game design choice. I wanted the first mission to be as simple, straightforward, and bare bones as possible. But if more stealth missions are added to the game, various tools would gradually become available to the player over time, such as the smoke bombs and stink bombs that are already fully functional in the Alphabet Killer Challenge. In the original release of the demo, if the otaku noticed the player attempting to rescue the stolen cat, he would yell about it, but he would not make any attempt to physically stop Yandere-chan. A lot of people thought that this was weird, but actually, there was some logic behind it. First of all, the stalker is fully aware that he has no legal ground to stand on. He's a thief, and he's been terrorizing Osana with threatening messages. He doesn't want to do anything that could result in the cops showing up at his house, because he knows how much trouble he would be in if the police learned what he's been doing. So, apprehending Yandere-chan or attacking her is simply not an option for him. Furthermore, he doesn't want to make too much noise and draw his parents into his room, since he would be horribly embarrassed if his family saw his pitiful living conditions or his shrine to an anime girl. More importantly, he doesn't want his mom and dad to be aware that their son is a criminal. And last, he is meant to be seen as a spineless coward who would be too afraid to actually attack anyone. An impotent little man who is incapable of doing anything more severe than making anonymous threats over the phone. A person who wouldn't raise a finger against anything more threatening than a kitten. Because of all these factors combined, he can neither attack Yandere-chan nor call for help. He really is in a position where he has no other option than to simply shake his fists with empty rage and merely watch as Yandere-chan walks away with the cat. However, in absolutely any video game, there should always be some type of consequence if the player screws up. Allowing the player to alert an enemy with no punishment whatsoever is pretty weird. It goes against everything that players have been trained to expect from video games. So, a lot of people expressed that the stalker should definitely take action against the player. Even though the stalker has a million reasons to avoid laying a hand on Yandere-chan, at the end of the day, I have to do what's best for the game. So, I've rewritten the stalker's personality to make him impulsive and violent enough to attack Yandere-chan, even if doing so defies all logic. Fortunately, this type of thing won't be a problem moving forward. I don't want to drop any spoilers, But if further stealth missions are added to the game, they would definitely involve characters who have very plausible reasons to attack Yandere-chan. There was another thing that bothered people about the mission. After leaving the stalker's room, his mother and father simply disappeared.
Yeah.
The reason for this is because I was deliberately trying to make the first mission relatively easy. But the unexplained disappearance of 2 family members was just plain weird. So I decided to provide an explanation for the vanishing mother and father. When you exit the stalker's room, you will discover that the kitchen door is now closed, and you will hear the sound of a man and woman arguing on the other side. That's right, the stalker's parents are having a domestic dispute. That's the reason why they aren't able to hear the sound of a struggle coming from their son's bedroom, and why they aren't around to catch you as you flee the house. If you listen closely, you can just barely make out what they're saying, but it's not too important to the story.
Yeah, true.
And with that, I've said just about everything I wanted to say about the stealth mission. It was an incredibly valuable learning experience, and it taught me everything I wanted to know in terms of how many resources and assets would be required in order to keep adding similar missions to the game. And the feedback that I received from players gave me a firm idea of what principles to keep in mind when designing future missions. It's still too early to say whether or not there will be any more stealth missions added to the game in the future, but I hope you'll look forward to the final game either way. Now that I'm done talking about the current state of the demo, I'd like to turn my attention towards the future. The next subject I'd like to talk about is how the rest of the game will be different from Osana's week. I'll release a video about it tomorrow. Thank you for following the development of Yandere Simulator.
Does it go black or do we have a small cutscene or something? Yeah, it's going black. Usually sometimes he does have a cutscene or something. Okay, so let's really talk about this for a moment with the whole entire game and everything. I have got to admit, I do find it really interesting, and I do like it. I do really find it great. Anyway, it was really interesting knowing how this whole entire mission thing really go. I kind of am curious about the other missions if they do come into existence. However, though, they really are interesting. And I do look forward to seeing how the game will be developed and everything. And there is multiple other things, but I'm mostly curious about how all the other rivals are going to be. I am planning to make a video discussing about all the rivals that I have seen, that we know about that's going to be in the game, and also discussing about many other characters, but discussing about how this game possibly will play out. I am kind of curious to see what his next 2 videos are going to talk about. But until then though, this is Judgment Game 44, signing out. Until then, I'll see you all later. Bye!